Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned in to MB12, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, some government contracts to be put on hold until further notice. Cabinet set to meet tomorrow. We'll tell you what's on the agenda. Former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram says North Abaco will remain FNM, and the new administration's plans to address violent crime. We've got those stories and so much more. I'm Paige McCartney, and MB12 starts right now. Welcome once again to MB12. Some late-term contracts awarded by the Ingram administration are now being reviewed, and it's likely that some of those are unlikely to be funded by the government at this time, and that's according to Prime Minister Perry Christie and Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis, who spoke exclusively to MB12 about these matters today. Several government contracts left in place by the Ingram administration stopped and are pending review by the Christie administration. During its last day in cabinet, the former administration approved several projects. Those projects included an $80 million project for Cotton Bay Eleuthera and a $30 million project for Norman's Key Exuma. In addition to the Eleuthera and Exuma projects, the government also agreed to purchase additional equipment for the police force and supplies for public schools throughout the country, and to undertake a small infrastructural project in Long Island. Today, Prime Minister Christie said as Minister of Finance, he has already previewed some of those contracts and put them on hold.
I have not had an opportunity to cancel any contracts. What I have done is I've asked them to hold with respect to the process, because it caused a lot of consternation. People kept on calling the office of Prime Minister saying hundreds of people are in various offices, and I didn't want that to happen.
Last week, multiple reports surfaced that the new government had canceled or was planning on canceling the FNM's 52-week jobs program. Christie today said during its last term, his administration faced people who were employed under an election program, and he intends to address the matter of this program the same way he did 10 years ago.
This is a one-year program, and it will obviously be an obligation on my part to ensure that these people who were promised work and who have been given work, whether or not they're being paid, I don't know, I will be finding out, that they have reasonable opportunities of enjoying that work.
Christie said he's more interested in trying to find a way to integrate the people employed into training programs to prepare them for full-time employment. Meantime, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works and Urban Development Philip Brave Davis said that there were many late-term contracts awarded by the Ministry of Works that are currently being reviewed.
My initial review indicates that a number of contracts were awarded that was not budgeted for. And so that means that we'll have to find monies if we're going to continue that in this fiscal cycle. But we're just reviewing it. I don't want to preempt what I will find. But my initial findings are that there have been contracts awarded that were not budgeted for, and we will be reviewing those to see what happens in that case.
Davis also talked about the future of the New Providence Road Improvement Project, which he said is being reviewed to see if the plan for completion of the wildly over-budget project has to be altered.
There will be changes to ensure that there are no minimum job losses to the end, minimum business closures, and minimum disruption to the lives of our Bahamian people. And if changes are required to achieve those goals, there will be changes.
It should be noted that during Ingram's last term in office, he was heavily criticized by the PLP for what it termed a stop, review, and cancel agenda of contracts Christie left in place. Well, the 21-member cabinet of Prime Minister Perry Christie is set to attend its first meeting tomorrow morning, laying the groundwork for the government's agenda and business of the country. Christina McNeil caught up with the Prime Minister at another function this morning. He gave a preview of what's on tomorrow's agenda.
When the newly sworn-in cabinet meets for the first time tomorrow morning, Prime Minister Christie says the economy will be top priority. This as the government begins preparing for the opening of Parliament and the speech from the throne.
Christie explained that today was the first official day in office for all government ministers. He says the financial state of the country and the crime situation will be high on the list of topics for tomorrow's cabinet meeting.
Obviously, as Minister of Finance, I will have to bring to colleagues' attention what we have found, the state of the economy, and which will guide us in the next 2-3 years. And that is the defining factor. Getting to also indicate to cabinet ministers how I would expect them to function, the lines and levels of accountability, that sort of discussion. But the most important thing is an examination of the economy, and we've promised very quick and effective action on crime.
Tomorrow, he says the work will begin as the heads of the various ministries report to Cabinet what they have found and any recommendations they have to improve business in those areas. On the campaign trail, the now Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works and Urban Development, Philip Davis, indicated that he would support a commission of inquiry to examine the New Providence Road Improvement Project and what the party called massive levels of cost overruns. Christie says his government will use all information gathered to determine the best course of action.
The Deputy Prime Minister has just gone into office for the first time today. So he's mandated by me to advise the government on what he has found. The Minister of State for Finance is doing the same thing. So we have to prepare immediately for a speech from the throne on the 23rd, and also a budget debate is looming around the 30th of the month. So everything is going to happen very, very quickly, and the country will have an opportunity to hear us and to see what is, in fact, the state of finances, the level of concerns about the roadworks, and the approach we propose to take to those works.
Prime Minister Christie says his government will also be looking to fill those recently vacant posts at the head of government corporations.
Last week, the heads of various government corporations tendered their resignations as they had been politically appointed under the previous administration. Christie explains that Cabinet must sign off on any new appointments, and those appointments can be expected sometime after Cabinet's second meeting.
I've had a full transition team working with me, examining the appointment of ministers. We're now turning our attention to senators and the diplomatic corps and boards. So the idea is to hit the ground running, to move quickly and effectively, and we're doing just that. And so you will find in the coming days we will begin the process of appointing boards.
The Prime Minister admits that some boards have pressing issues that must be dealt with quickly.
I think the College of the Bahamas Board is a tremendous concern now, because there's some things they have to do with the graduating class at the College of the Bahamas. So we will move very quickly to do that.
Commencement exercises at the College of the Bahamas traditionally take place in late May. Reporting for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.
Well, the Christie administration's parliamentary secretaries were sworn in at Government House today. During the ceremony, the Prime Minister congratulated the 3 appointees for their success at the polls and charged them to work in the best interest of the Bahamian people. Member of Parliament-elect for South Beach, Cleola Hamilton, was appointed Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Immigration. MP-elect for Bambootown, Renwood Wells, was appointed to the Ministry of Works and Urban Development, and MP-elect for Exuma, Anthony Moss, was appointed to the Ministry of Agriculture, Marine Resources and Local Government.
I came up through the public service for 32 years and would have gained a lot of experience. And it is my resolve that I will serve my country to the best of my ability.
It is a job that I come to very sober and with lots of experience. I intend to see that the Bahamian people get what they rightfully deserve. It is my background. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I think the Bahamian people can look forward to the very best representation.
I believe a country ought to be in a position where we ought to be able to supply food for our entire country. One of the main things that I would like to do going in is that we want to sit down and see if we can create some way in order to organize the growth of some food at each and every island within the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Well, those parliamentary secretaries took their posts at their various offices for the first time today. Well, former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram says he has no regrets as he heads into retirement. Ingram said farewell and thank you to his constituents on Saturday night as he asked them to consider a candidate for the approaching by-election. Our Candia Dames was in North Abaco for the farewell celebration. She has this report.
The former Prime Minister has been elected here 8 consecutive times, twice as a PLP, once as an independent, and 5 times as an F&M. Ingram announced that he will formally retire from frontline politics on July 19th. That is the anniversary of his first election. It's also 2 weeks before his 65th birthday. Ingram pointed out jokingly that age 65 is the mandatory retirement age for civil servants.
The results of the May 7, 2012 election shocked and disappointed many FNMs, and now the party is turning its attention to rebuilding after Hubert Alexander Ingram. Scores of North Abaconians turned out for the farewell celebration even after the hurt of the election defeat lingered. But no one could tell from watching Saturday night's festivities, which stretched late into the night. Ingram made this announcement to constituents.
I wish to advise you that I will resign my position as leader of the Free National Movement on the 26th of May this year, when we hold a special convention to formally elect a new leader of the party. I've led the FNM for 19 years, and for 15 of those years, I also served as Prime Minister of the Bahamas. I also wish to advise you that I will resign my seat in the House of Assembly on the anniversary of my first election, that is, on the 19th day of July.
With a looming by-election, the former Prime Minister made it clear that it will be the residents of North Abaco who will choose the person to run on the FNM's ticket.
Over the coming weeks, I ask you to discuss amongst yourselves whom you'd wish to choose to replace me as your FNM Member of Parliament. I want you to know that I'm not going to seek to decide that for you. When it was time for me to run, you decided that. No one told you what to do. And so you find somebody and tell me who it is, and they will have my full backing and my full support, because North Abaco is going to stay FNM.
Ingram said he is retiring as MP of a constituency that is way better off than it was when he was first elected.
I gave you decent, honorable, and incorruptible service. I did my best for you. I leave you now much, much better off than you were 35 years ago. So fortunate that since 1987, I have not had to campaign and ask anyone to vote for me. You did it for me all the time. Thank you very much. I don't even have to come here on election day. I stay in town and wait for the result. Thank you very much.
At Saturday night's event, FNM Chairman Carl Bethel stirred up the crowd with this comment.
Look what you get when you're tired of what you got. 7 murders in 5 days. They told the Bahamian people, elect us and there's going to be peace on the streets, nothing but blood on the streets under Perry Christie. So Abaco, you know fool's gold when you see it.
North Abaco resident Douglas Evans, meanwhile, suggested it is time for national healing.
Mr. Christie is my Prime Minister now. His passport say Bahamian. My passport say Bahamian. So let the FNMs relax and accept him as a Prime Minister. If they screw up, they screw up. If they do better, they do better. We're not here now to just make trouble. And this Ms. Ingram done set the message. What, 8 terms? Come on, let's be proud.
Ingram invited North Abaconians to select the person they wish to be the candidate in the North Abaco by-election. He says he's leaving politics with his integrity intact and his head held high. Ingram also said that he intends to reopen law offices on New Providence and Abaco, and he also intends to spend a lot of time on the sea fishing. Reporting from North Abaco for NB12, I'm Candia Dames.